Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And sometimes I feel like I'm just living in a bug's life spewing off Deepak Chopra quotes.
I'm Sean Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Remington. We've been pretty hip lately. We've been pretty cool.
Those are definitely words that I would use to describe us. We are definitely hip, cool, and fly.
Yeah, because I mean, we've been staying trendy, Remington.
Sure, yeah.
Lately, we've done a lot of very modern anime.
Yeah, that's true. We've been very upfront. The most modern, of course, being King of the Hill.
Okay, you can't even say that as a joke.
It's timeless. It's always
is
modern.
I would hard disagree. I would say it is the definition of a period piece.
Oh God! All right, but I assume with this you're building up to a juxtaposition of sorts, Sean.
I would if I knew how to spell it. But yes,
I'm gonna assume that we're gonna be doing something nice and different.
Yes. Yeah, I figured that, the oldest thing we've done in recent time was frickin' Danmachi, that was 2014. That's still pretty recent, and I'm gonna keep saying it's pretty recent because I don't want to think about how old I am right now.
Yeah.
But overall, like, that's pretty modern. And it's been a while, so I figured that we'd hop into our way back machine, Remington.
Okay, perfect. How far back we going?
It's gonna be a bit of a trip. It's a magical distant land. A distant land that was only really dreamed about when we were youngins. The distant land of 2004.
Ah, yes, old 2004.
Things were
back
so
when
different
cowboys were roaming the prairie. I look at my presentation of that. It makes cowboys sound like just this natural creature.
As we all know, until the great mass extinction event of 2005, cowboys ran wild on the western plains.
As we
now
can
you can
see,
only see them in rural parts of places they don't belong.
As we can see, this ancient cowboy from the Clint Eastwood species, it seems to be getting absolutely sloshed in an attempt at a mating ritual later tonight. It will inevitably fail.
I was about to pull out my Clint Eastwood, but it is very bad, so I'm not gonna do that.
Hey, Yugs, look at me! I'm a badass cowboy, Yugs. Hey!
Oh God. But 2004, man, because I figured we should dip back into some older stuff just to kind of balance things out a little bit.
All right,
and it's been a while since we've done something pre-2010, I'd say.
Yeah, and what older anime are we about to jump into in this already highly cursed episode?
Well, of course we're gonna jump into a fairly interestingly cursed anime.
How appropriate.
Because the anime we're going to be talking about today is a bit of a weird one for us, Rem. Because it's an adaptation, it's a book adaptation, and we don't really get many book adaptations in anime.
It seems like you're calling out light novels.
That's because I am, Remington.
Oh, shit.
You haven't read light novels, Rem. There's a reason they're called light novels and not books. They can be wonderfully well written and greatly entertaining, but it's hard to find a light novel that is more on the novel side than the light side.
That's fair. All right,
yeah.
So a proper novel adaptation.
Yes. And you might be thinking, now, what kind of story could be perfectly adapted into a modern anime?
Like any of them? Because that's just... I mean, it's just a book. I swear to God, if it's like a book about a video game, I'm gonna lose
Yes,
my
because
shit.
Remington, we're gonna be talking about Ready Player One today. That great series that everybody loves because it references all the things they love and are definitely not blinded by the fact that all it does is reference things they like.
What a delightful anime series that.
Oh God. But no, Rem, I figured that I could show you like something a bit more modern. I mean, the closest thing we've ever gotten was Secret World of Arietti, and that could hardly be called an adaptation. Whereas today, Rem, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite anime adaptations. It's simply called Gankutsuou.
Oh, but of course. Yep.
Otherwise known as The Count of Monte Cristo.
Okay.
What's up? What's up, Rem?
Sure.
You okay?
Fuck it. But of course.
Because everybody knows that The Count of Monte Cristo is just filled to the brim with waifus and husbandos.
You know the fucked up thing, Sean?
Yes.
Although I'm obviously familiar, I have neither seen nor read The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, God. Really?
So this is going to be my first proper impression.
Oh no. Rem, I thought our shared love of books would be a good starting ground for this. You haven't read? Oh no.
Unfortunately, it's not one that I've gotten to. So this is going to be my first and only impression of The Count of Monte Cristo.
Well, there's also, have you had the sandwich at least?
Pardon me?
The Monte Cristo sandwich?
Oh, yes. It's a delightful sandwich.
Yeah. So surely the anime adaptation of the classic literary book.
That is where I will be judging it upon. Is the anime a better adaptation than the sandwich? I'll be honest. I think the sandwich, it hit all the right emotional beats. Mm-hmm. I did think the descriptions were a little bit lackluster, but just like the emotional impact was there. So we'll see if the anime can compete with it.
Okay. Well, Rem, I suppose I guess I have to give you a summary of The Count of Monte Cristo first then, huh?
I mean, I'm familiar, but that's probably worthwhile.
All right, so basically speaking, Rem, the Count of Monte Cristo is a revenge story.
Hell yeah, brother. Relatable.
Very fantastic revenge story. Essentially, our main character was wrongfully convicted, imprisoned, and exiled for a crime he did not commit, all orchestrated by one of his former allies. And he goes on a grand quest to get epic, vile revenge on all the people who've wronged him. And it was a very popular book written back in, what was that? 1844 to 1846, I think. So
okay.
It's a bit older. It's a French book written by a gentleman called Alexandre Dumas.
Oh, but of course.
I believe I pronounced that right. I don't speak French.
We are great with our pronunciation.
Yes, in collaboration with Auguste Marquette. Look, man, it's a bit rough. But it was considered a very popular little series that came out. And, it honestly, I feel like it's going to be a bit rough to explain overall to you, Rem. Especially considering that the adaptation we're talking about, Gankutsuou, is definitely an adaptation, but it's also kind of a sideways adaptation. It's an adaptation that takes the original text and the original story and then turns it into a different genre, similar to what you do with like most Shakespeare plays.
Okay, I get you. What genre?
Well, it's a little hard to explain, Rem.
All right, okay.
But
sounds spooky.
It is. So the general synopsis of Gankutsuou is in the year 5053.
Okay.
Bit of a jump from 1843, but hey.
A little bit. It's all old. It's just all old, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference between like 2 centuries and 15? Like it's all the same difference.
Yeah, it's all the same, basically. French aristocrats, Viscount Albert de Morcerf and Baron Franz de Epinay, yeah, that's right, they use actual French names in this.
Oh, fuck.
Are attending a festival on the carnival, a festival of Carnival.
We are nailing this episode, might I say.
I would say so.
This might be our magnum opus.
Viscount Albert de Morcerf and Baron Franz de Epinay attend the Festival of Carnival on the moon city of Luna. While Franz is looking to have fun, Albert is seeking something more to fill his life, but he finds more than he bargained for in the Count of Monte Cristo, a mysterious and charming self-made nobleman who meets his gaze during an opera performance.
I'm sorry, is this yaoi baiting?
Look, Rem, we don't want to use harsh words like that.
Is this another dating sim show? Are we in another harem anime, Sean?
I'm gonna tell you right now, no. No. I suppose that's up to interpretation, Rem.
Shit.
Look, Rem, I wanted to do this episode so that we could get a little culture back into our podcast, you know? I figured that since we did so much, like, lewd trash, edgy trash, you know, just all the classic anime stuff, that we should dip into classical literature. It might broaden our horizons, make us seem more appealing to the intelligent people out there.
Oh God! All right, okay. This sounds like it's gonna be a bit of a shit show, but hey, that fits with how things are going right now.
Yes, but it's okay, Rem, because the one little bit of hope I'm gonna give you, because it is a bit tricky to explain, because it is an adaptation, but it's also kind of it's a loose adaptation. I'll be honest, it's pretty loose, but you know,
it has a character named Count of Monte Cristo. There we go.
Yeah, but I will tell you, this is one of the weirdly most gorgeous shows of its time period.
Okay.
So do with that what you will, because it is very much.
Wait, I have to ask. It's a pretty show. How's the water?
Look, let's not talk about that, Rem. I don't think we
it
have to
have
bring
weird
the
water, you son of a bitch?
Look, the water is there, but I don't think it's as distracting as you might make it out to be. Look, let's just say that colorful decisions made in this anime are going to be an interesting treat, to say the least. So, Rem, to get this over with as quickly as possible, I'm so sorry. The second half of this will be way more interesting, trust me on that.
We're just accepting that part one of this episode. It's a clusterfuck.
Look, we spent all our energy on last week's episode, which we just got done recording. I'm feeling the burnout. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go in a hole and cry now because I hate what I've just done to this episode. Long story short, sure. Rem, it's a futuristic story of revenge, intrigue, drama, and...
Wait a minute. Wait, what? Futuristic?
Well, yeah, the year is 5055.
Oh, yeah, no, okay, I got you.
Yeah, 5053, excuse me. The year 5053, Rem. It doesn't get much more futuristic than that.
To add to the clusterfuck, I thought you said 553.
Yes, Remington. We turned the Count of Monte Cristo into a fucking Roman story, because that's what you do with weird adaptations is you take it back in time to when those countries don't even exist. Actually, when does France exist? When does France exist? This is an important question.
When does France exist? End this part. Save us. We're so far in the hole. This might end up being our worst part one of any episode of all time. Holy shit.
I don't know. Fist of the North Star was pretty bad.
Oh god, that one was so... Oh god.
Look, we'll make up for it in part 2, I promise. While Rem's watching the anime, I'm gonna go look up when France started.
Cool.
So let's get started then, Rem. Let's go watch some Gankutsuou, the Count of Monte Cristo, while I apologize to everybody who loves this anime deeply and profoundly.
Previously...
Wait a minute. Wait, futuristic?
The year 5053, Rem. It doesn't get much more futuristic than that.
Up next.
Did I Psyche K myself? Did I fuck up here?
You don't call them MILFs for nothing. It's in the name, Rem.
Now, back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after consuming 4 whole episodes of Gankutsuou, the Count of Monte Cristo. And Remington, was I wrong in telling you that this show had a unique style to it?
You know, Sean, I can only really speak for, like, the first, 15 seconds. Because I think after that, I've become legally blind, so... I don't know if it's consistent or not. Who knows?
That must have made reading the subtitles extra difficult, Ram.
I would say that the visual style of the Count of Monte Cristo, it is the equivalent of like Colin Mockery's shirts on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Or if you deep fried an anime, that's what those are the levels we are getting into right now, Sean.
Some deep fried French literature right here.
I say this with all due respect, but the first 15 seconds of the first episode, after the intro, of course, may be the most egregious thing that I have ever seen in my goddamn life. It genuinely, it pained me to watch.
I don't know what you're talking about, Rem. It was so colorful and bright and different.
Yeah, all of those things are true. The key word that's missing there is a good decision. And oh dear God. Let me be upfront. We posited a question in part 1. The sandwich is a better adaptation. Choose the sandwich any day of the week. Easy decision. Okay. Another problem. There's so fucking much going on. There's so much. I'm going to, in a moment, go through everything that happens in episode 1, right?
Okay.
I had a moment where I was like, did I Psyche K myself? Did I fuck up here? Is this the actual anime? Before deciding, well, surely this, if we're talking this level, it couldn't get a season 2. And I hope I'm not proven wrong about that.
No, it's one complete story in 24 episodes.
24? Oh God, that's way too many episodes still. Holy shit. Because in these 4 episodes, so much has happened and nothing has mattered. Oh my God. Alright, so we start. Count of Monte Cristo has an English OP, which fucked me up. Made me restart, because sometimes I accidentally hit hit the dub rather than the sub, right? And on this podcast, we tend to watch the subs. So, yeah. We open up and it's just nice old American English singing, and I was like, this doesn't seem right. So I have to go double check. Yes, it's right. Okay, let's go back in. Alright, so I'm just going to very quickly go through everything that happens in episode 1. Normally I intersperse it with commentary. There'll be some commentary, but overall I just want to give our audience an idea of a single episode of the Count of Monte Cristo. Alright? I think that's reasonable. So our main character, Albert, his best friend Franz, they go to the Moon Carnival. At the Moon Carnival, a woman named Marquis, she meets up with Franz. They go everyone sees an opera together. At the opera, woman is singing, the Count throws a bouquet at her, fancy. Then Albert decides, oh my God, that Count of Monte Cristo, holy shit. He decides for some reason to chase the Count of Monte Cristo after the opera's done. So he chases the Count, where he ends up finding on the floor the Count's pocket watch, his golden special pocket watch. He goes up a huge elevator. At the top of the entire building is what can best be described as the Count's UFO. The Count passes him, gets on his UFO. There's a brief conversation with Franz at that point where it's like, oh, the Count hardly talks to anybody. It's real difficult to get an audience with him. And then they get a letter from the Count being like, hey, congratulations, you didn't have to do anything, but now you have an audience with me. Come hang out with me. So they go have a dinner with the Count. And then there's some weird exposition that the Count has about love because he is an angsty boy. Boy, oh boy, is he an angsty boy. And then he's like, oh, I want to invite you to more food. Let's have a little luncheon tomorrow. At the execution. It'll be a great time. Lovely time. So they have a luncheon with the Count to watch an execution. And at the execution, there's 3 people being executed. 1 don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about him. Neither should we. 1 of them claims innocence on some murders they're accused of. And the 3rd one is like, yeah, I killed a bunch of motherfuckers. What's up? So the Count of Monte Cristo is like, oh, let's play a pardon game. I have 3 playing cards here. One has each of their initials on it, and I also have a pardon from the cardinal. Only one person gets pardoned. Choose who it is. And then there's some weird drama. It's like, oh my god, it's so intense. Who's it gonna be? Even though we were just introduced to this shit, and I don't give a damn. And so, Albert ends up choosing, and of course it's the serial killer who was like, yeah, I fucking did it. And so Franz feels a little bad. Later on, well, we get a brief scene about, like, the Count of Monte Cristo fencing or some shit. Later on, we get an argument with Franz and Albert. They part ways. And then on the city streets of the moon, Albert finds a girl. Well, a girl finds him, and then they start talking, and they decide, hey, let's fuck right here in the middle of an alleyway, in a dingy, dark alleyway. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Carnival, mate. You gotta, you know, have a bit of fun when it's Carnival.
But then, right as he's about to, like, stick it in, she pulls out a gun and is like, hey, fuck you, you're getting mugged. And so, that's episode 1! All of that, 1 episode. One fucking episode.
Yep. I mean, I followed it pretty easily. I don't know about you. Made sense to me.
I feel like there's a missing ingredient there or something, dude. There's a disconnect. Count of Monte Cristo, it is either, like, playing on the 4th dimension, like, it is
Have you seen
above...
the art style?
This anime, I don't know if it's meant for human consumption. It is beyond us. It is beyond us in so many ways. Or alternatively, it's a bit shit. So those are possibilities.
So we're gonna get angry emails this time. What a strange twist for our program.
Are we?
Yes, we are, Rem.
What the hell?
And I'm gonna get a lot of those ones directed at me because they're gonna be very upset that I only showed you 4 episodes of this show.
Oh, 4 was enough, I assure you.
I know it's a bit early, but Rem, care to take a guess at what this show is rated on Mal?
Oh, God. Well, see, you saying that has me questioning what my answer is, saying that we'll get angry letters. Oh, God. Is this beloved? It shouldn't be beloved. Please, no. I'm going to say, like 7.89.
Oh, that's interesting. But no. No. With only 58,000 reviews, it's definitely a cult hit, if you could call it that. It is currently sitting at Mal with an 8.17.
What the fuck?
And just to break the formula a little bit, on IMDb, it's an 8 out of 10. On TV.com, it's an 8.7.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
I am aghast. I'm astonished.
Oh, yeah, no, this show is beloved by many.
I don't get it. I'm genuinely confused. Some, I'm like, all right, well, the weeps like it when a boy fucks his sister. Like, I get why the weeps like it, even if I disagree.
Wait a minute.
But this one, I'm like, I have no idea. Do they see something different and mistake it for good?
No.
What's happening here?
There's a lot at play in this show. I'll tell you right now. The only mistake I can think of off the top of my brain was making myself watch all 24 episodes in a span of 2 sittings. That was a bit much for me.
God.
As
4
displayed by
episodes is a
my
bit
issues
much for
trying
me.
to explain it, because I don't know if you could tell, Rem, but it's a little more than just an adaptation of an old French classic.
They went balls to the wall, and what the fuck is happening at any time?
A lot is happening,
God.
Rem. And I'll be honest, I was so banking on you having read The Count of Monte Cristo before we're doing this episode. Because I thought that with our shared love of classic literature, that surely he must have read this one at least.
Nope,
and
can't have read
therefore
them
we
all.
could make a great comparison on what this show is trying to do in comparison to the original works, what it keeps, what it changes.
I mean,
and
I still, like, I'm at least familiar with, like, the premise of The Count of Monte Cristo and, like, cultural relevance and whatnot. I can see that it's trying for some similar themes of love, friendship, betrayal, etc. I don't think it's doing any of its themes well at all. But, you know, it's... I can see some of what it's going for.
What if I told you that this is one of the most popular adaptations of this work?
What the fuck, dude? I'm so tilted.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I figured it would tilt you.
unironically, this motherfucker is going in the same category, just like artistically for me, as a Forest Fairy 5. So that's...
What? Hold on.
I think that both have the same level of merit.
Oh my god. Okay, except big difference here. This was made in 2004 when they just barely got their hands on the technology they used to make it.
It shows.
In comparison to Forest Fairy 5, which came out 6 years ago.
Oh, God.
And is still our least listened to episode, I think.
I would much rather watch more Forest Fairy 5 than Count of Monte Cristo. Count of Monte Cristo, first of all, it's hideous. It is an assault on the senses at all times, especially at the beginning, the first, like, few minutes. But it still continues. They do the thing where they are very texture happy. God, do they love their fucking textures. And they do it where the textures are flat on the background and the characters, like, they move across the textures, if that makes sense. If you see it, you would recognize the strategy that they're doing. So oh, my jacket is this hyper-specific texture, but as I move across the screen or turn around, the texture stays in the same place, even though I am moving, right? And so they also decide, not only do they do that, but every character has like 4 different textures on them. They have like a hair texture and then like 3 different clothing textures. And so you, at the screen, on any given moment, you have a billion different textures, all very noisy, all competing for space and attention. Backgrounds are simultaneously completely barren and empty, while at the same time being busy as all fuck. You get so much terrible CGI. Some more egregious than others. It's a trip to watch. And while they have an ambitious visual style, the animation is quite plain, and the actual like animation, it's just sort of there. I don't get it. I suppose we should continue on past the first episode.
Spark notes it, if you will, because like you said, a lot goes on in one episode. It's a little hard. We might be here a while.
Which, oh god, so much happens. None of it matters. Why is the Count like a dark elf? Why? What the fuck is going on with that?
Well, Rem, if you just finished the series, you'd understand.
Oh, of course.
It all does make sense in the end.
Good old moon boy. All right. So, episode 2, we start where we left off with the fuck mugging. Franz, he's getting it on with his own moon girl. There's some exposition at the party that they're at that's like, oh yeah, no, don't go out at night on the moon. You'll get fucked up. You're gonna die if you do that. And Franz is like, oh, but Albert did that. And they're like, oh, he's probably fine. Don't worry about it. So Albert gets kidnapped. We get some weird tragic dad backstory from Franz. Okay. Franz eventually he leaves. He sees the pardoned killer, right? And there's a ransom letter. Pay 50 million, or he's gonna die by sunup, and you only have a few hours at this point. He can't get the money from the bank because solar winds are interfering with their connection to Europe. He goes around, can't get the money. He visits the Count, who is... I haven't talked a lot about the Count. He is I mentioned he's an angsty boy. He's just an edgelord. He is an edgelord that they're trying to make him really interesting, and Jesus Christ, he fucking isn't. He is bland as all fuck. He's trying to be... He's like the image of a suave, mysterious man without any depth to him.
Man, those emails are gonna be vicious. For the 12 people who have seen this show, the emails are gonna be vile.
Oh, God. So the Count pays the ransom to stop the murder. Albert saved just in time. He was going to be like branded by a hot sword, but then Peppo, who is the girl that he was going to fuck but ended up mugging him and kidnapping him, she for some reason intervenes and stops it for like no character motivation, like genuinely makes no goddamn sense in the moment. Then Count shows up and he fights against the sort of mob boss, Luigi Vampo, and Luigi is like, if it isn't the king of the cave, and he stabs the Count, and the Count is like, I don't care that I've been stabbed, and stabs Luigi in the eye. They save Al. Peppo decides that she's gonna leave the crew, right? They have dinner with the Count again, and he's like, the Count's like, I'll visit you in Paris sometime. Oh, by the way, Peppo, the girl you're going to fuck later, I know you want to stay on the moon and fuck her, but actually she's a boy. So instead, Al is like, well, guess it's time to leave then. And that's episode 2.
Wow, you got through a lot in like 30, like a minute and a half, give or take.
I'm trying, man! Because it's like, what do I leave out? It's all on the same level of relevance. All of it. It's not like, oh, here's the A plot, here's the B plot. It's like, all right, here all of it is. I don't understand. One thing I also don't understand. Well, first of all, everything. But like, some people are driving cars, but the Count, he's an edgy classic boy, so he has a carriage for some reason. There are lots of flashbacks, and in the flashbacks, the character textures are normal. Which if anything infuriates me even more. Because it's not even consistent. I don't get the world they're trying to build. I don't understand. All the characters are shit. I hate this so much. I hate this. This is suffering. If you've never seen The Count of Monte Cristo, all I ask, there's probably episode 1 on YouTube. Just watch the first minute after the OP, right? The first minute. And if your eyes don't, like, physically hurt, then maybe you can give it a try.
See, now that's really gonna bother people, because this is one of those anime where people say that the whole thing as a whole, watching all 24 episodes, is really where it all comes together.
Get the fuck out of here.
And that's a little hard to do with our show, and I knew if I tried to get you to watch all 24 episodes in one sitting that you would actually come and murder me.
I don't know. If you made me watch all 24, I don't know. I would need like months to recover. Just like not only mentally, but just my optic nerves. Oh God.
What if I told you that a lot of the praise for the show comes from the unique visual aspects?
No, that's because people see something that's really different, right? Which I can appreciate trying, but that doesn't mean it succeeds. That doesn't mean it's good. So they see something different and they're like, oh wow, this is so artistic and good, especially because it's an adaptation from classic French literature, right? So it feels like it's being real subversive and intelligent. No, it's not. I hate to break it to you. That is not the case. All right, let's get to episode 3, which is where the Count shows up and tries to fuck a MILF. All right, so...
Well, I mean, it's in the name. It's in the name, right? You don't call them MILFs for nothing.
So, Albert has a nightmare about the Count. He wakes up. He goes for a drive with a billion characters we do not know. Some of them get stuck in it. There's just too many fucking characters. They have a picnic just around. The characters, there's a journalist, there's a soldier, there's an eccentric inventor, and then there's like a noble. That's sort of like the archetypes we're going with, I guess. Instead of inventor, I guess mechanic is more apt, but I don't know. It's a clusterfuck.
Don't worry. They expound on it more later on, kind of.
So, after the picnic, they reach the city and they start talking about like the importance of the city walls, and they do a pan shot of the city, and oh my God, it's one of the ugliest cityscapes I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like,
so
holy shit.
To part the kimono a little bit there, Rem. This whole anime, for the most part, was filmed, or rather animated, in a 3D animation software.
Yeah.
And so, for the most part, the 2D stuff is layered on top of all of the 3D animation where necessary.
Yeah, but it's not even just that it's like mediocre at best CGI. It's also, once again, it's so noisy and chaotic. And there's just, like, they show the cityscape. There's like blimps with faces on them and like a bunch of, I'm gonna call them gigantic ShamWows being carried up by hot air balloons around the city. The city itself, it's like a 11-year-old tried to design their own Las Vegas. That's what it feels like. It's just so noisy and hideous, and the colors are so bad.
Hey, now I've never been to Paris. But for all I know, that could be a faithful adaptation from 2004's Paris. Do you know anybody that's been to Paris? I don't think so. Checkmate.
There we go. You might have thought that, oh, Paris is a beautiful, beautiful city. Oh no, it's this gaudy as fuck hellscape. So they arrive in the city, right? They get to a mansion. It's a dark and stormy night. The Count is on his way. They talk of the Count endlessly, as they've been doing thus far this entire show. Like, they are really trying to establish this Count as like, oh god, yeah, he's so fucking mysterious, isn't he? Oh man, who knows what's up with him? God damn, is he mysterious? But like, maybe this would work if you didn't pull that in episode 1 where you're like, he's so mysterious. Oh, we got an invitation to go hang out with him. Let's do it. It's like, he's lost a lot of the allure by now. Like, you're supposed to like build it up so that the moment we meet him is something special. But you fucked that up in all the ways. So they talk about the Count for like way too long. The Count arrives and there's this weird power outage that lasts 5 seconds. Their introductions are made. Everyone has dinner. Turns out one of the maids here in Al's house, it's Peppo. Good old Peppo. Why? She's just like, oh, it's coincidence. Don't worry about it. The Count is talking like over dinner. The Count is talking about his explorations through space. At one point, he talks about Eastern space, Sean.
Yeah.
Now, he talks about Northern space and Eastern space. I get Northern space. That makes sense. We have a North Pole. Just go north from that, and you can say that that is Northern space, right?
Yeah, no,
it's
that
not
makes
a great
sense.
term for it. It probably leads to a lot of confusion a lot of the time, but sure, Northern space. Eastern space?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is that, Sean?
Oh, you know, Rem, it's a bit to the left. It's a bit to the left of space. I don't know what you're so confused about.
It's because obviously East and West, we live on a goddamn globe. Mm-hmm. So you can keep going east, and if you say east of Earth, from what fucking perspective? Or is it just like the cosmic east? You know, that great concept. We all understand the cosmic east.
Cosmic East is my favorite Daft Punk cover band. I love them.
It was just one of the stupidest lines I saw. Anyway, Count eventually, he sees a picture of the mom and he's like, oh god, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that's what I fucking want. And there's like implied history between them. And then he eventually meets the parents and he looks at the mom and he's like, oh yeah, oh fuck yeah. And that's episode 3. Oh, God.
I mean, isn't that what you do when you meet somebody's mother for the first time, Ren? Like, when you met your
Mrs.
girlfriend's
Rollins?
mother for the first
fuck
time.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey
you
there.
walked into the house and you're just like,
Ooh.
ooh. So that's where that came from.
It's so weird. So, episode 4, we have dinner. The Count actually eats, which is notable for reasons. Sure, okay. The mom and the Count, they talk to one another. The Count eventually leaves. There's chat with parents, chat with Peppo the maid. Peppo's like, oh man, the Count is fucking your mom. Peppo suddenly like has a very bodacious personality. I don't know what Peppo's deal is. I don't know why Peppo is here.
I don't think Peppo knows why they're there, honestly. Like, I feel like that's a fair statement.
I don't know what story they're trying to tell with Peppo, other than Peppo is around.
Hey, look, once you finish all 24 episodes, Peppo's entire character arc is much more apparent.
I would hope so, that after watching the entire thing, hopefully there's some arc. But right now, the character introduction has been piss poor. But that is not unique to Peppo. That applies to literally every character that I don't give a single fuck about.
It might surprise you, but Peppo is not in the original story.
Oh, wow. You don't say, Sean. Yeah, you don't say that the very feminine, playful maid who's actually a boy, whether that means a cross-dresser or trans, the show doesn't give a shit about that distinction. You're telling me that is just an anime thing?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, wow,
it's surprising.
So, at one point, Al, he eavesdrops on his mom with a mysterious photo. The Count, as he's going home, he's chatting with some weird blue girl that she's just been chilling in the carriage. She's blue like he is. Have I mentioned that he's blue? I mentioned
you
he's
have
a dark
not
elf.
mentioned that he's blue.
Yeah, he's a dark elf. He's just blue. He's just a blue vampiric boy.
Hey, now, dark elves can be gray-skinned or maybe purple-skinned. You don't have to box them all into just blue, Rem.
I'm just boxing this one into blue. So the Count is chatting with the girl. Then he goes to visit his dad in the Parisian cemetery. All right, we had another chat with Peppo. And then some stuff with his mom. And then yet another chat with Peppo. Very Peppo-centric episode, this one, for some reason.
Hey, Peppo's character arc is one of the most complex ones in the series, Rem. I will not have you dissing Peppo.
Every interaction is just like, hey, Al, you know how your mom is fucking the Count? Your dad's probably fucking other women too. Ha 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 ha. Wanna fuck?
What?
And that's just like, that's just how Peppo does. Peppo only cares about who's fucking who and who Peppo is fucking. So there's a mysterious locked box. Sure. Then we see the Count and his blue girl. They are in a golden castle in the astral plane. So, Al and friends, they go to the golden castle in the astral plane. They actually take an elevator down from a normal castle to the golden castle in the astral plane.
And see, whenever I try to go to the astral plane, I usually just end up at the White Castle instead.
And then the Count pulls a sword on Al, gets right up to his throat, and then is like, hey, I wanted to give you a sword, so here you go. And that's episode 4. What? Nothing has happened in these 4 episodes, and yet it's a clusterfuck. It is the equivalent of its visual style. It's so noisy, but for no purpose, no underlying reason.
I can predict the tweets now, Rem. It's gonna primarily be, you've missed the point, Rem. You've missed the entire point.
Please share the point, because yes, I have missed the point phenomenally. I've looked around. I have stormed the gates. I've upturned everything. I have not found the point, but God, have I searched for it. I thought, oh, Count of Monte Cristo, it's a literary adaptation, maybe it could be decent. Instead, I got a flaming clusterfuck that makes no fucking sense. What is the point? What is it?
Well, Rem, it's actually a very complex story of love, intrigue, and revenge. And
no,
truly
that's the normal Count of Monte Cristo. We're talking about the adaptation, boy.
I mean, this one's about that too. But, you know, when you take a 400-page novel and stick it into a 24-episode anime, it's gonna be a bit interesting. You gotta add some things, take away some things. You gotta add some Peppo in to get the proper mix for your psychedelic, cyberpunk, futuristic clusterfuck.
It feels like someone played Telestrations with the Count of Monte Cristo, right? But with like deep fried memes were the only images allowed. And so they were like, this deep fried meme represents Count of Monte Cristo, and then someone described that and you just repeated that process a bit and you just end up, I don't understand. I don't get it.
4.6 on Crunchyroll, by the way.
Out of 5?
Out of 5.
Why? What's going on? It's just a bunch of weebs who want to feel smart. Like, this is a new dynamic, because this one, it's just, I can only see a pretentious appeal. That's the only appeal I can find at all, remotely.
So you're saying that they watch this show and it's interesting to them because of 2 reasons. 1, it's got a unique art style, and 2, it's based on classic literature, and you're assuming that this is the only way they've been exposed to the classic literature, much like you.
Yeah, and so they're convinced that it's good and deep, but it's fucking not. The only character that has been built up in these 4 fucking episodes is the Count. And even then, the Count, who's been built up a ton, still just amounts to an edgy, fancy boy.
It's okay, Rem. Only 88% of people like this show from Google.
I don't get it. I don't see the appeal. It's...
Well, Rem, maybe we just have to finish it. Maybe that's the key.
No.
I mean, you're already, a sixth of the way done.
My eyes cannot take it, Sean. It's so bad. It doesn't know what the fuck it's doing. It has a lot of ideas. Boy, does it have a lot of ideas. Why has it decided to use the Count of Monte Cristo to implement these ideas? I could not for the life of me tell you.
I don't know, maybe because the IP was free?
There we are. I don't know. I don't know what more I can say. I feel like I have more thoughts, but like the Count of Monte Cristo anime, the thoughts I think I have are ultimately vacuous.
Wow. Oh, Rem, this was delightful, Rem. I'm glad I showed you this anime, even if the first half of this episode was us trying not to have a stroke and die.
In the first half of the episode, I was like, oh man, real worried. Wasn't our best showing. Hopefully we can do better in the second half. As I was watching the show, I was like, I don't give a shit that the first half of the podcast was terrible. If people decide not to listen to this one, that's fine.
Rem, this is one of our jobs, Rem. We have to put out good content.
Just skip the podcast episode, the anime itself, just...
You're telling people to skip the podcast episode at the end of the podcast episode. You did a splendid job of that. There might be, another 10 minutes left with including Patreon stuff, and you're just telling people to skip the rest of that?
Dylan, lovely editor, just front load that. Just put that at the beginning. Let's warn
No, absolutely not. Veto. As lead host of this show, fuck that noise.
If you've reached to this point, then just know I tried. So
You tried to make people sad. Oh God, in this case, you're just making people sad incidentally by having an honest opinion. But I suppose with that being said, Remington, the really only one thing left to ask. Any chance you'd like to watch some more Gankutsuou with me?
God, no. Fuck, no.
Even if I give you some eye drops?
Shit broke me. I don't... I'll be amazed if I've recovered by next week. I'm real fucked up right now.
That's okay, Rem. I'll be fine.
Oh, good.
And with that, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciated it. If you enjoyed us professionally failing constantly, then you can head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. As well as Spotify, Stitcher, and honestly, word of mouth is a great way to help us grow as a small cast. And if you'd like to support us even more directly, we do have a Patreon at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you can gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to have Remington read your name aloud. But if you just took his advice, you probably skipped this part. So the real question is, Rem, who are we thanking now?
Alright, good old bland bitch protagonist, magical girls, y'all are great. And then we reach yandere waifus who do us the great service of gouging our eyes out before we have to watch more of The Count of Monte Cristo. And on that list, we have Yamate Kudasai, Juliana, The World Shall Know Propane, the guy that makes you say cunt on your podcast. Sorry for making you guys groan last week. Next week I'll start trying to make y'all laugh. Snap Snips, Slambo the Slambo Chosen. Sean, thank you. I don't know when Hollow Live episode comes out, but it's easily my most anticipated. Don't rem your promise. Sean Onichan Baka Woo. Sean Evangelion is trash, get over it. Scoopy Loopy Boopy Doopy Hoopy Goopy Oopy. Say and Joey Wheeler. Hey, it's so generic Brooklyn at this point. It's so bad. Sarah
Yeah,
Bird,
no kidding. It was never good to begin with.
Salty Pretzel, Sequoia Faye, Reverse Kismo, Remington Merrill, Remington is not a man of culture or fox and boy, Redneck Weeb, Ready to be Isekai'd, put out merch already, I want reasons to give you money, Mahu no Pug Tears, Lonely Geek 23, Kyle Welsh, Kitty, Kazu Morocco, Jax, Jacob Livingston, Inuyasha's my favorite cryptid, Ichigo Simp 015, H Wood, Hanakawa, Glenn Michael Dolan, give me a few deep breaths and say, I'm horny. Ghostly Bishi, the Corpse Sweaty OVA's trash, please play the game. Devin McCutcheon, Darth Pikachu, Dark Swarm 713, Danny Morbido, Cynical Witch, Christian Crawford, Cheese Banana Fish Monkey, Brent Adams, Ariel Bird, Apostle of the Church of Remington, Anime Duck, Andrew Sinclair, Andrew Rauke, Elise Howard, and Alexander Nasian Senyo. Thanks absolutely every single one of you. Y'all are great. We move on. We reach the Boy Wizard tier representing Elijah Wood and Daniel Radcliffe. On this tier, everyone is going to get a Harry Potter pet peeve that I found on Reddit. So
Oh, so you know it's valid and accurate.
yeah, these basically they're just complaints about Harry Potter. So here we are, folks. So the Brown Mamba, you are okay. You know what? This is a good one. The pet peeve, people who think they're a bigger fan based on the amount of merch they own. I can agree with that. Fuck gatekeeping.
Yeah, no, gatekeeping
you
is
can
awful.
be a broke ass bitch and just as much of a fan. Spicy
Yeah.
Log Horizon is one of the best written isekai. Use the BS rule. Hot take. You're going to get Goddess Spy's complaint. When fighting, why do wizards not break the wands of other immobilized wizards? You know, that's a valid question.
I mean, I think they do, but just not in the books.
Yeah.
I mean, how many wands have been broken in the series? Quite a few, but you know, I
true.
get it. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. Understandable.
Rare Anata no Suga Soba Niura yo Kima Manatenchi Tachi Kumiko. You are going to it's fucking rough. You're going to get the pet peeve. Harry Potter not fixing his wand in the 7th movie. The fuck Harry. Yeah, the fuck Harry.
Oh yeah, they did cut that bit out, didn't they?
Yeah. Pilkster, the Symphogear advocate, you are going to get the changing and inconsistent nature of the point system for the houses. Also very fair. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason in that.
It's whose line rules at that point.
It is whose line rules. Drew Carey is Dumbledore, actually. So
Drew Carey is my waifu.
I would love to see Drew Carey as Dumbledore. That'd be
great.
MT the Poet, you are going to get okay, here's a possible controversial one. Just Snape apologists across the board.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
I that's gonna piss off all the Snape apologists, but I get it.
Yeah, no. You can like Snape, but you have to understand, not a good dude.
Yeah. Let's go. Miguel DeLeon, you are going to get the biggest pet peeve, peeves. Someone had to do it.
Or the lack of in the movies, I suppose.
That's true. Lolicon John, the 4th of Cell Block B, you are going to get I'm sorry, like 3 people in a row said Peeves. I can't see. I've already stolen that answer. All right, someone says Harry's relationship with Mad Eye Moody.
In the books or films?
Oh, okay. So they're angry that Harry has like a great relationship with Mad Eye Moody, despite when being introduced to Mad Eye Moody, it not actually being Mad Eye Moody.
Okay, you know what? That's kind of fair. They never
I get it.
Yeah, they never did address that.
All right, then we have I Call Bone Drew Daddy. The lack of guns, just shoot a motherfucker. Yeah, fair. Agreed.
Well, I mean,
Guns, real easy killing spell right there. Boom.
That is true.
Piece of cake.
I have to imagine Protego probably does something against gunfire, but then again, we never got to see it happen, so it's hard to tell.
We have Enrique Perez Torres. Okay, here's a nice inflammatory one. J.K. Rowling's LGB representation on Twitter, but not in any of the actual stories. Yeah, that one makes sense.
Yeah, no, I feel like that transcends pet peeve, though, personally. I feel like that's
some
genuine
underlying
social issues. Yeah.
Last but not least, we have Dedicated Sadist, and the pet peeve you get is the existence of the cursed child. Also fair.
Yeah, no.
I've heard it is a great stage production, but dear God, if it isn't, it's some Count of Monte Cristo bullshit. I'm gonna put it that way for you.
Look, man, you're gonna have to start referring to it by the Japanese title if you want to make that distinction, because currently people are gonna be thinking that you're after frickin' Dumas's,
Yeah, we'll just make it more confusing, and I'll just call the anime Monte Cristo Sandwich.
I'm never gonna be able to look at that sandwich the same way again.
The Monte Cristo sandwich made my eyes bleed. So, we actually move on to the Cory in the House Chef no Musco tier. And everyone's gonna get some classical literature. So, everyone is going home with the classic in literature, starting with Uncreative Cretin. Uncreative Cretin, you are going to get... you're getting Great Gatsby. Why not? That's a good one.
That's a very good one.
You're feeling all nice and green. Silicon Spectre, meanwhile, you are going to get Slaughterhouse-5. One of my personal favorites.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one.
And finally, we have Amoto Aigao Rem Oni-chan Baka. You are going to get the Anime Bible.
Sorry?
Congratulations.
Sorry?
You get the Anime Bible. It's everything you could ever want from the Bible, but anime.
Well, you just called anime classic literature, Rem, so good work on that.
No, I've called the Bible class. It's just a different style. Technically, it's the manga Bible or some shit. It doesn't matter.
But hey, you heard it here first, folks. Anime I'm having a strong. Non-Bond's having a strong. You heard it here first, folks. Rem considers anime to be classic literature.
Oof. If you'd like to contact us, whether it's for question, comment, feedback, or recommendation, you can either tweet us at AnimeConPod or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there, and as always, don't fuck your sister.
I'm horny.
And I'm just so small, and I'm so scared.
Off to the strip club.